What is going on, guys? In today's video I will show you the best poison ranger build in Path of Exile 2. So in this guide I will give you a quick overview of the setup. Then I will explain what skill gems and upgrades should you focus on. Then as well we'll see what is the best gear and how to get it for both the leveling and mid game. And then finally we will go over the passive skill tree, stats, your skill rotations, and even what charm should you use, so we would be able to get the highest damage possible and much more. If you are looking for this poison build on the website, then click my link in this video's description or the pinned comment. This setup is known as the toxic poison build, as we are going to be dealing insane amount of damage with just the poison effects alone. Our playstyle is structured around specializing in dealing damage almost exclusively by spamming the gas and divine arrow, as because of our skill tree and the gear we are going to be deleting trash enemies in split seconds. However, what I really like about this build is the fast speed farming potential, as you can keep moving while dealing a lot of damage over time. And then for the rares and bosses, we will use the Plague Barrier and the Toxic Growth, which will annihilate anyone that stands in our way. If you want to stack as high poison as possible and use one of the highest DPS builds currently in the game, then let's get right into it. So with all of this said, let me show you the build. And for the main class we have chosen to go with the Ranger, and our Ascendancy is the Pathfinder. Then for the first skill we have the Gas Arrow with support gems such as the Armor Explosion, Corrosion and Persistence. Then second we got the Toxic Growth with Martial Tempo, Soul Thief and the Concentrated Effect. Then next we got Divine Arrow with Bursting Plague, Comorbidity and the Long Shot. Then next we have the Rain of Arrows with Withering Touch, Maim and the Envenom. Next we are also using the Plague Barrier with Expanse, Magnified Effect and the Chaos Mastery. And then finally for the last one we got the Wind Dancer with Clarity, Cannibalism and Precision. And by the way, as you can see from the gameplay, I don't have all the skills equipped on my skill bar. It is because this build only requires 2 to 3 skills to function at all times, so really there's just no need for more. Most of this setup is structured around using the gas and divine arrows, so we use gems and skills that will support and increase their poison area and damage, while the rest are powerful filler and utility skills that we can use until our main rotation comes back up, which happens rarely as we can basically spam it 24/7. Next, let's quickly take a look at our leveling setup, which we need to use up until we unlock most of our poison skills, and when we have invested decent enough points into the poison damage. So first off we have the Rain of Arrows with the Maim and Envenom. Then next we have the Barrage with the Armor Explosion and Corrosion. Then next we also got Divine Arrow with the Bursting Plague and the Long Shot. And then finally we're using the Freezing Salvo with only the Venom support gem. This is your basic leveling setup, up until you get some of the better skills. In the early stages of progressing we're using the Rain of Arrows and the Barrage for AoE damage. Then we have Divine Arrow to start equipping our character with the first poison skill. And then lastly we're using the Freezing Salvo, which is meant as a powerful freeze, which can especially be helpful against early game bosses. The main idea behind this is to always move while using the Rain of Arrows, Barrage and Divine Arrow, while then using all of our other skills for utility. Next up we have our passive skill tree. For most new players this can seem extremely daunting, so let me quickly explain. In very simple terms, every character is granted one passive skill point every time they level up, and are sometimes even granted more for completing certain quests. We have 3 node types, so small nodes, notable nodes and keystones. All of them act as checkpoints that you want to reach and make a path to build around a specific playstyle. So let's take a look at our setup, and we want to start at this evasion node. Then go like this and unlock all of these 3 nodes, so Blur, Eagle Eye and the Honed Instincts. Then now keep going down here and then take the right and unlock this Harness the Elements. This will make that never poison effects can pop by themselves and do big damage. So then from here we want to keep on stacking the evasion and poison duration and damage. So then we go back to the previous path and keep going down, while on our way getting most of this circle and both of these 2 nodes called the Escape Velocity and the Freedom of Movement. And now finally from here we want to keep on going forwards and get these 2 last nodes. And then from here the priority doesn't really matter that much, as you should be already doing huge amount of poison damage. So from here unlock all the other nodes in whatever order you want. Also in the future I'm thinking to maybe invest some points into the Acrobatics Keystone, which will give me insane amount of evasion, but I still need to test this theory, so I'll let you know if I make an updated video. And then now let's go all the way to the middle again, And for our Ascension setup, this is what we have. So at the beginning, you want to unlock the Contagious Contamination. Then next, get the Overwhelming Toxicity. Then now get the Running Assault, and then finally the Relentless Pursuit. If we compare both of the Path of Exile games, then PoE2 is much slower, so getting this movement speed in the endgame will make this build even more powerful than it is right now. And to simplify my decision making and so you could easier understand, then we wanted to prioritize the Blur, Honed Instincts, Heavy Ammunition and the Crippling Toxins, as they will give us the biggest poison upgrades to not only damage but duration as well, so we wanted to get them first. And then for the rest we invested into more stacking evasion, more skill effect duration and just more damage, which will make our poison last forever. In PoE2, earning skill points take a lot of hard work, so it will be wise not to spend your points recklessly. You can of course refine your passive points later, but only at a cost, so following a specific setup is extremely useful. If you are following this build, then make sure not to deviate from it, as some of the decisions that I made might not make sense at first, but it's going to definitely pay off later. So feel free to use the exact same path as I have right here, and don't forget to check this video's description to find a link for this website, and this should make it easier for you to follow the path. Next we have our gear. The weapon of our choice is the Expert Short Bow with a crit chance, and for the extra stats that we want to try to get are increased physical damage, increased accuracy and increased attack speed. And also, as the bow is a one-handed weapon, so we wanted to get the Fire Quiver, with the addition that adds 3 to 5 more damage to attacks, and for extra stats we want to get things like the physical damage, increased damage with the bow skills, and increased attack speed. Then for the helmet we have the Advanced Guarded Helm with armor and evasion. For extras we want to get more evasion, more maximum life and reduced attribute requirements. Then for chest we have the Expert Pathfinder coat with evasion, and for bonus stats get reduced slow on debuffs, evasion rating, max life and percentage to lightning resistance. Then for the belt we have the Fine Belt with maximum life and lightning resistance. Then for the gloves we got the Advanced Section Braces with evasion, and for bonus stats get accuracy, max life and fire and cold resistance. Then for boots we're using the Expert Laced Boots with evasion, and for extras we want to get increased movement speed, even more evasion and resistances like cold and fire. Then for our first ring we got the Emerald Ring with a lot of accuracy and cold resistance, while on the second one we got the Sapphire Ring with cold resistance, maximum life and more to all attributes. And then finally for the amulet we got the Gold Amulet with increased rarity to items found, and for bonuses get max life, more to spirit and more to all attributes. As the game just launched, so this is the starter setup, which should be more of an example of what stats and prefixes to look for. Your weapon will be the most important upgrade, so prioritize any type of flat damage or increased attack speed. And then for defenses, make sure that you're regularly updating the base type of your gear, so prioritize evasion, maximum life and any type of resistance that you can. Also, movement speed on boots is a good option as well. As far as getting gear goes, gearing up during the campaign is relatively straightforward. Most players will focus on increasing their damage output and survivability, and at this point there's no one best gear or specific item that you should farm, as the campaign is just a brief introduction to the game itself, and you will be getting better gear left and right. However, once you reach the early stages of mapping, which should happen around level 65, it's crucial that you start mainly focusing on farming the Atlas of the Worlds, and just keep repeating maps until you reach tier 16. If you're looking for a gearing guide on the best gear and how to farm them after the campaign, then watch my dedicated gear guide video. Then on top of this, we need to quickly look into the charms. Charms are incredibly useful, as by having the right one equipped at the right time can save you from dying. If you are struggling with certain bosses, then look into what damage type they are using, and then use that specific charm to increase your resistance. For me personally, I like to use the Ruby Charm for fire damage, then the Sapphire Charm for cold damage, and then the Topaz Charm for lightning damage. But as I said, which one you choose will entirely depend on the enemies that you are fighting, so feel free to experiment and mix and match. And now finally, let's quickly take a look at how this build will work. And this is actually very straightforward. So for trash and weak enemies, just use the Gas and Vine Arrow, and this will fire toxic arrows on the ground, which will all do poison damage over time, and then even detonate, which will cause you to deal even more damage. Then second, for bosses, rare enemies or just hard packs, this time we want to spam the toxic growth into a single gas cloud, and use Plague Barrier as needed or just to detonate the toxic growth. This rotation again will shoot toxins on the ground that explode and deal poison damage, but you don't have to wait for that delay by using the plague barrier, and you need to do all of this into a single gas cloud, which you can create by using the gas arrow and increase your damage even more. And then finally, the Rain of Arrows and the Wind Dancer are just meant for utility, so use them depending on the fight. So let me know what you think about this setup in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, then you definitely don't want to miss my previous top 3 build video, where I showed even more powerful builds. So click the screen now and I'll see you in the next one.